Hello everyone, and welcome back to The Games Must Go On. Today we're going to be taking a look at Super Mario 3D World as an escort mission, so let's go! First up, we need to know what's going on. Well, we're going to be playing the game as Mario and Peach, except we're not going to be allowing any inputs on Peach's controller. In addition, there are a few rules that we're going to have to follow. 1. Peach is not allowed to go into a bubble. 2. She's not allowed to take damage. And 3. She's not allowed to die. And with that, I think that's all. So let's go! The first problem we have to address is moving Peach, because she isn't very mobile if she can't move. But thankfully there's an easy solution. We can pick up Peach and carry her to the goal. And this allows us to finish the levels all through World 1, all through World 2, and somewhat through World 3. And then we end up getting to a water level. Well, what is so bad about a water level, you might be wondering? Well, you can't carry players if they are in water, which kind of makes it impossible to get through the level normally. So, while we can make our way through the first section, we get to a section where we have to go underwater. And that seems pretty impossible. But thankfully that doesn't matter, because we can actually push the character when they're underwater. Doing this, we can move Peach through the entire level just by pushing her. And this makes this level thankfully possible. But it does make it extremely tedious. Especially at one section where you actually have to bounce Peach on your head and move her a little bit over to the right just to get her over a railing. But thankfully this level is impossible and doesn't stop our run. But the level afterwards might. The next level isn't so bad actually. It's, it's honestly quite easy. It's just, you have to carry Peach on moving platforms that you can control, and then there's just a bunch of those, and sometimes there's blocks that you have to hit that, you're just too tall to hit, so you actually have to throw Peach on said moving platform while it's moving, and then you have to hit that block and then pick Peach back up and just hope that she doesn't fall off, because there's water underneath. That basically means it's an instant restart. You just gotta go past lots of enemies on those tracks that are falling from everywhere, making it excruciatingly difficult. I don't even know why I put this on this list, but oh well, it's possible. With those two levels out of the way, we can make our way to World 4, and most of the levels are a cakewalk. It's just the boss which is a problem. Now, what's so bad about the boss? Is it the fact that, he's rolling around and you have to dodge him while carrying Peach? No. Is it the fact that he spawns more enemies that all roll towards Peach? No. Is it the fact that you can't pick up these boulders unless you actually throw Peach somewhere else while making sure the other boulders don't roll towards Peach? Yes. Yes, it is. Yeah, you have to manage Peach, making sure she doesn't get hit and no other boulders roll towards her, and you have to damage the boss, which can prove to be quite challenging. But thankfully, that's the only challenge of World 4, and we can move on to World 5. Now, World 5 is mostly a cakewalk. Notice I say mostly, because there is one challenging spot in this world. That being the boss level again. Now, this level decides to focus on little squares with spikes on them. Now, these wouldn't be much of a problem if, Mario and Peach's combined height fit. Sadly, they don't. So, you have to do basically perfect jumps through all of these squares. But thankfully, you can make your way through the entire level perfectly fine with Peach and make it to the boss, which isn't that much of a problem. And then we get to move on to World 6. Now, World 6 doesn't feature one main problem, yet it features two levels that need to be talked about. The first being Clear Pipe Cruise. Now, the whole gimmick of this stage is you have these clear pipes that you get to go and travel through. Now, this is a good gimmick until you realize you can't carry other players in clear pipes. So instead, you have to maneuver your way through the level on top of these pipes or ignoring them entirely, until you get to the key token section. Now, in this section, we actually have to go through these pipes, but thankfully we can leave Peach somewhere where she's still on screen so she doesn't go into a bubble, then collect the key tokens ourselves and exit the level. Next up is a little bit later down the line in Fuzzy Time Mine. There's just one singular problem where if you go too far with Peach on your shoulders, she'll go into a bubble even though you're carrying her. But thankfully that's not that hard to avoid doing, so overall World 6 isn't too bad. But now we get to go to World 7. So what is in World 7? Well, there's a split path, and there is a problem on both sides. On one side we have the Boulder Blockade and Trick Trap Tower, and on the other side we have the Prince Bully and a vertical water level. And obviously that vertical water level is impossible, so we are trapped on the left side, requiring us to refight the Boulder Blockade and more obstacles on said fight, all heading towards Peach. Hope you like managing all the obstacles on the screen with the gamepad, because you will have to do that. But thankfully, we can actually make it through this fight with difficulty, and then we make it to Trick Trap Tower. So, what is so bad about Trick Trap Tower? Well, it's actually the height. Now, when you pick up Peach, your height is essentially doubled, which can cause some problems in this stage, because at the end of it, you are supposed to make your way down a tower very quickly, while fog comes to crush you. Thankfully, we can run out of it quite quickly, even while carrying Peach, and we'll be fine, except there's a gap that is too small for you to fit in. Thankfully, by throwing Peach at the right time, while at your max speed, you can throw her in the right spot and then you can push her downwards some. After that, you can pick her up and run down and out of that tower. I recommend doing this as Small Mario because of his smaller hitbox, it'll make the trick easier. Still extremely difficult though. Afterwards, we can finish up World 7 and move on to World 8. In World 8, there weren't really any problems that came up. There was one section on the Bowser Express that had water in it, except you could just go around it. And a little bit later there was a level called the Beam in the Dark, which had light boxes that were inaccessible through normal means, but by ground pounding, you could actually knock Peach into one of the light boxes and carry her around and still be able to use the light box. Leading us to the final boss, Meowser. Here we are at the final boss of this game, where we have to follow Meowser up a giant tower before getting to the very top, where we can land the final blows on him with a pedal block. 1, 2, 3, and there we go. We have just proven Super Mario 3D World is possible as an escort mission. Now this is the real essence of solo teamwork. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye!